Let me put a light on.
Steve, are we on now when it does this? Awesome.
We're back. 3 Guys, Many Games, Week 4 wrap-up. I'm your host, Steve Sombrato. I'm here with my dear brother, Vin Sombrato, and Mr. Chaminade, Rob Smalley. Smalls! This is a big week, Smalls. I know
big
you got
week.
Chaminade stuff on for a reason, right?
No, it's a big week for me there. I got the Yukon game. I'm still involved with the basketball, as you guys know. I'm actually headed to Yukon. I'm driving in about an hour to Yukon. It's a 3-hour drive. I got to do it.
You're supposed to be Mr. Chaminade. You're talking about Yukon and St. John's, but you didn't even talk about, Chaminade took a big defeat last night,
Oh, that was a bad defeat in basketball. Up 17 with 9 minutes to go, and they lose the game.
That's a tough.
I think it was St. Mary's. Terrible loss.
No, they lost to St. Dom's.
St. Dom's, same thing.
Yeah. Well, that's a tough. That's when you're the number 1 seed. They had a great team. A lot of good seniors.
Sometimes, listen, he's a great coach. I'm not going to kill him because anybody can lose, but you can't lose up 17 with 8 minutes to go. It's impossible. All you got to do is weave the ball. That's it.
Not impossible.
It's devastating loss to the kid.
Sports, this is what happens, Anything's, and like you always say, anything is possible.
Anything is possible. So, yeah, it's heating up. College, of course, is heating up. I was at the JV championship game where they won. They were down by 22 and came back. That was a big win for Thomas O'Connell.
Right.
Actually, I want to give a shout out.
Yeah.
I was riding the Long Island Railroad last week going to the St. John's game, and sitting in front of me was a girl I graduated with. And I'm looking, and it was so crowded, the train. I got off the train in Manhattan, in Penn Station, and for some reason, I don't remember anybody. I remembered the girl's name. Her name was Irene Vogel. Irene Vogel. I want to give a shout out to Irene. She's a very close friend in high school. She was the smartest, she was the best looking, she was the kindest. Her mother was the nicest person ever. And she married a guy who we know, but I can't remember his name. He went, I think with Tashman, maybe a little bit before Tashman he graduated, around with Frankie Tashman. He's about 5'5", I guess 5'7", like that, whatever. He went to Frankie's school, you know that, right? And he was at the dinner, and we had to know the guy because he had an Adelphi shirt on, so he went to Adelphi. He went to see Frankie. Frankie got inaugurated for the Hall of Fame dinner, and he was there. So Frankie was the only lacrosse guy, and he was there, so he knows Frankie, but I just can't think of it. So if he's on there and he wants to, write his pencil's name in, and I know him good, great guy, smiles. He's just a really fun guy. I was talking to him there. He married Irene Vogel, and I had never known that. He married some, because I only see him at events and stuff. He loves the podcast. He watches every event, But no, that's it.
It was a big weekend last weekend. A lot of tough games, a lot of upsets, big upsets all around.
Well, let's get right into it. You're talking about the biggest game of the year.
Well, look, the rankings got shuffled.
Syracuse loses.
Syracuse came outside their shell, came out of the dome there. Vinny brought up an interesting stat that was floating around that, granted the season has only been started earlier into more February games in the last few years, and they usually always start in the dome. They don't usually get outside in February, but apparently they've either never won a game, Vin, in February outside.
Yeah, it's not never. I think they hadn't won in like 20 years outside in February. But again,
so
I think I told you this. They only played like 4 games. It wasn't many
Right.
games that they played in February outside, but they lost. Look, it's got to be an adjustment. Just like it's an adjustment for teams going to play inside the dome. When they come out of the dome, it's an adjustment for them. So it was a phenomenal game. Sellout crowd up in I mean, in that weather, people standing on mountains of snow surrounding that field. It was high energy. It was like it was a playoff game. I think that Harvard was inspired, in terms of getting a little bit of revenge from getting knocked out last year when they had Syracuse down on the mat in the Dome, up 4 with not a lot of time left. And Syracuse came back to win that game. So obviously, they're confident in themselves. They're confident in their ability to play against anybody. But this was a bit of a different game. They were ahead. They went behind. They went ahead. They went behind. It was back and forth. So that maybe showed more than last year's game, when they got up, because they were playing, from the front. This game, they did have to come back. When Syracuse made a little run, it looked like, maybe that was lights out for them. But to their credit, and they did a pretty damn good job at the X, because that Syracuse guy, we know how good he is. And they held their own there. Those were big. They got some when they really needed them. He didn't take them all, Mullen. He jumped a couple times, so of course then he don't get to take the next one. But he did get the one when they needed it clean, and they got a timeout, and they had the ball with a chance to tie. He got that one clean, and ran it to the
No doubt about it, Vinny. It's Gerry's biggest win. Biggest win of his career and biggest win for Harvard of all time. I mean, really, you're beating them, and it's unbelievable. Now he's coming to Long Island. Can you believe this? He's going to play at Chaminade on Saturday at 1 o'clock against, who was it?
Marquette.
Wow. From what I understand, hello, Cheryl. My friends are here. You say hello. Hey, guys. Anyway, so what I wanted to say to you guys, I don't know if you guys are really aware, because I don't hear you talk too much about Marquette, but apparently the guys that are coaching the team are all from the PLL. Were you aware of that? I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Well, I know they had changeover from
the head coach played from Amplo.
PLL, Ben. You said PAL.
PLL, I said. And I said he also played on the USA team. So
He said PAL.
Is the coach.
Right. Yeah.
No, so it's a big win for Gerry, and I'm sure he's happy, like that. And coming to Long Island, he has, he's looking fresh and dandy. Let's say he's happy coming here, and give the guy a lot of credit.
Preparing the venue, we've had all this snow. Are you preparing the venue for this big event at Chaminade Saturday?
Well, to tell you the truth, I would go there and clear it off. I'd be there first, clearing it off with my shirt.
Well, I got the word. They had all the trucks out there this morning.
They got the kids too.
Yeah.
They got the kids clearing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, I don't think it's much to get it cleared if you got a bunch of guys with shovels or certainly a plow. If you got a plow.
No, you can't do the stands with metal shovels. You'll scrape everything, the seats and stuff.
Yeah.
They actually have something for that, believe it or not. Don't ask me to tell you the word, what it is, but I will be able to articulate that.
Hopefully some of that.
That'll have it clear.
Yeah.
We got a little dusting again today. We're supposed to get maybe a little dusting again on Friday. But, Saturday, the question is what the weather is going to be that day. Stephen was just telling me before we went on, might be up to the 40s at some point, but they're also talking about maybe some rain, sleety type of rain at like noontime. So, the conditions will be rough, but it's unfortunately, I don't think that'll hold the crowd back. The fact of the matter is, you can't really hold all that many people there anyway. You're not going to get 10,000 at Chaminade. They got nice stands. They'll line people maybe on the opposite side from the benches. But it gives Harvard an ability to come down here and showcase, and Marquette to come here. They recruit the island, and of course Gerry Byrne is a Chaminade alum, so that's a homecoming for him in a sense. So,
listen. He's the greatest kid ever. If you want your kid to go to Chaminade, be a good boy, never steal candy from the candy store, he's your guy from Levittown. He's the perfect protege to go A, B, C, D, like that. You know what I'm saying? He did everything right. I got to say, the kid did everything right. He really did. You know, like he went all the way through and just a great soul, great guy all the way. I mean, he's got two older brothers that were great to follow, but they really, well, what do you say, cream of the crop, Benny? How do you say the word?
I got a surprise here.
Whoa.
I got.
Who's a surprise?
I got a. I got a
Who's
surprise
this
for you.
guy?
Stan.
My
We got
God,
him.
can you believe it?
I'm here.
It's him!
We got calling in.
Happy Birds! Unbelievable! You guys didn't tell me he was coming on. I would have had a whole script for this kid.
Oh,
Oh my God! There he is! There he is!
welcome,
Big
Gerry,
win, baby!
Byrne.
Big win!
This is. We were
Whoa, man!
been talking about it. We were just getting into it a little bit, and Smalley was giving you plenty of props of being one of the nicest kids from Levittown. Oh, man, was he giving it? I think the kids call it glazing today. There was a lot of glazing going on.
Well, listen, we all stole candy from the candy shop. He never stole candy from Grant's. You know, we get over on a hot dog and candy. That guy was the perfect kid. Come on.
Rats.
Two great older brothers, great family. He's the guy. But I had one thing from, I don't know if you know Thomas O'Connell. I know you know him. He's now the, what do you call him, the new chief over there? How do you say it, Vinny? He's the head guy over there, Shamla, right?
Gerry, Harvard lacrosse.
He wanted to ask Gerry one of these before I forget. Gerry, if you get a chance, throw us a bone. Pick somebody from Shamla to come out of Harvard, to go to Harvard. If we can. You know, I don't want to, get on your recruiting.
I think there's some great inflation at Shaman. It's not as hard as when Vinny and I were there.
That's right. That's for sure.
That's true.
They only do 2 hours a night. Only 2 hours a night now.
So, Gerry, how do you feel after the big win? You're like a rock star on Long Island.
On to the next one, Smalls.
I hear you. You got class. I figured you'd say that. But it's gotta be deep in you, feeling pretty good, you know?
You're always excited when you win, and you're excited when no one thought you would win. A lot of doubters out there. Listen, we've had 3 games with them in 12 months, and all of them came down to the last possession. I think it.
What was he? I'm sorry. It would be 3 games in 3 months.
There were 3 games in 12 months. We played them 3 times in 12 months, a calendar year.
3 games in 12 months.
Last year they played twice. Last year.
There you go. That's why he's the best.
You're too busy watching your other favorite guys.
You're right.
You're wearing their gear. You're pumping tires. You're not ignoring. You're like Flavor Flav.
Flavor Flav with the big red, right?
Vinny and Steve are like, Chuck D. They got all the analysis and all the messages.
Oh,
Gerry,
that's great, man.
I wanted to ask you because from what I saw, parts of that game, and where you've brought the program, where you've brought it to now, to what I saw was a bit of a slight difference. And the difference that I saw compared to maybe last year is there seemed to be more of a real belief now. Like maybe last year, you're rising, you're getting to a level, you feel you can compete. But now I sensed body language from the team and the players, like they know they belong and they know they should potentially win these games. And
listen, I think the main difference. Listen, I felt we believed in the regular season. We definitely believed in the tournament game. Listen, there was that combination of humility and confidence going in any game. But I think the main difference was that, we won faceoffs. We won maybe 2 or 3 faceoffs out of 60 in 2 games. And with those statistics, it's nearly impossible to win. And we had an opportunity to win both of those games. And so the fact that we started with some wins and made it almost a 50-50 battle. I mean, if you would have asked me that could have happened, but as I said to someone else, I think the only guy who believed that it could happen was our face-off coach and our face-off man. And so that was the main difference. Even though there was a game of runs where it was like we went up 2 at halftime, they go up, 3, we go up 2, they go up 1, so, but, like if you're not winning any faceoffs, you can't stop some of these runs because you're not getting the consistency of possessions. And so I think the confidence and the belief was there going into the first game last year. And yes, maybe it goes up a little bit when you actually win those games and feel like you should have won the NCAA tournament game. But listen, Syracuse is Syracuse for a reason. They are hard to kill. I used to joke that they were like the Terminator, and they kept on coming back in the sequel. And to win by 1, you got to win by 3 against Syracuse. So it's that they're obviously well coached and have a legacy of being in those games and coming back. So listen, I think it's a great moment for the program, and it's a cliche, but I gave them 24 hours to kind of pat themselves on the back, and now we're back to work.
What's your record? 3-0, or what are you guys?
Yes, 3-0, cool. And come into the world headquarters of the program that Vince Vibrato built and Jack Moran built, and we're fired up. Marquette was interested in a neutral site game, and Marquette's a Catholic school, and a chance to come and play on Long Island. We've done some scrimmages with Stony Brook, but I don't think we've played there. So this hits a lot of buttons.
Well, the good news is all the field will be ready. We know that they had the plows out there. Already got word. The plows are out there. They're taking care of everything. Just to give you a story, when I was a freshman at Post, we actually had to go, and our first game was against Harvard, and there was about a foot of snow on the field. So we didn't have plows. We didn't have anybody. Postel made us go out there and start with snowballs. He would make a snowball. He'd go, okay, now roll it. He'd have guys. We were pushing 6-foot mounds of snow, and it was coming up. Like, you would roll it, and it would get bigger and bigger, and it was fun. Meanwhile, we were exhausted. And then the next day, it happened to come out. That next day, it was about 75 degrees somehow. It was a beautiful day. All the boulders are on the sideline. And I said, we ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. We were pushing boulders the day before. Just to clean.
That's scary.
Who wasn't pushing a boulder? Tom Postel with a butt in his mouth.
No, you're right. You're right. He's a great supervisor.
He was an idea man. He was an idea man. He's like Smalley. He was an idea man. Smalley's an idea man. He's an idea man.
Smalley, turn your phone off.
No, it's not mine.
Okay.
Once it's not mine, it's Vinny's. I wanted to figure out whose it was. I got blamed.
Vinny, turn off your Tinder account.
There you go.
The good news about the Chaminade is, Jack Zullo, who I coached at Notre Dame and was a goalie at Chaminade, his dad is the head of facility. So I think he's pulling out all the stops. They sent me a video of basically a bulldozer snow off the field yesterday.
Hey Gerry, the percentage. I know you're improved in a lot of areas, but if you had to look, as you're looking at the last 3 games, your face-off percentage, isn't it a little bit up from last year in the beginning?
Well, I don't know.
5-8%.
I don't know what kind of math they taught you at Levittown Division, but at Chaminade, the math is we've gone from like 30% to maybe near 50%. So that's
is it that much?
Improvement.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, that's been.
Well, that's huge. I didn't know that's huge.
So it takes pressure off the defense. It takes pressure off our ride. It allows us to substitute different. The possession, battle is a little bit, balanced relative to what it was in some games last year, and it takes less pressure off of our defense and our goalie. So there's besides obviously winning the faceoff and the emotions and the psychology that goes into that, it also, you can play a little bit differently when you don't have to cherish every single possession.
Yeah, killing it right there.
That's true. But what's interesting with the shot clock, you can play good defense and get the ball back. I'm just curious, like the analytics of when teams win a face-off, what percentage they score on after a one face-off. You know what I'm saying? Like what's the percentage when a team wins a face-off that they play offense and score compared to
I think
within
that the
transition?
metric you want to think about is kind of defensive and offensive positioning, defensive and offensive efficiency. How many goals do you score per 100 possessions? Now how quickly? Now you're not going to have 100 possessions in a game, but so say you have 50 possessions. If you have 50 and your opponent has 30, which was close to the balance in our two games with Syracuse last year, it means you got to score on like 50% of your, to have 30 possessions, you score 15 goals, that's 50% offensive efficiency. If your opponent has 50 possessions, they got to score on 15 out of 50 versus 15 out of 30. So your selectivity, if you have confidence in your ability to win possessions, you can shoot and feed and be more creative and aggressive than if you're only going to get, 60% of the same number of possessions as your opponent. So that's really the thing. But what you're talking about is, hey, you score and you win a face-off, and you score and you win a face-off, which happened to us in the NCAA tournament game with Syracuse. We were up 11, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes left to go. We get a penalty, we get a violation, and they scored 4 or 5 goals in 90 seconds. So you go from feeling, all right, not that you have the game, but you're in a good position, and a penalty and a failure to clear and a face-off violation. Next thing you know, it's 11-9, and they have a guy who's crushing us at the face-off. There's two different things there, Vin.
Just goes.
Hey, Gerry, on the defensive side, maybe I'm wrong. I didn't watch the whole game. You guys watched it, the experts here. You did something a little differently, maybe, than last year. Were you playing more of a short stick on any of the attackmen, or?
No, we I've never believed in the concept of matchups. I believe in the concept of having 6 really connected and collaborative defenders. And so, in some of the possessions, all 6 of our guys guarded, Leo or Spallina or whoever. So it's whatever the situation dictates. It's not like, hey, we don't want to leave that guy. You support and slide as needed. You don't always make perfect decisions.
Right, so you just slide as you need. Okay.
It's just what happened, and we were able to play, I think, good on-ball defense and really good off-ball defense.
You know what I thought was, you say about. I was going to say, Vin, the end of the game, the last possessions of that game. It's funny how similar possessions, different decision making, different result. Meaning, your guy, big body, got in there on a low angle, went under, right, and chose not to take that shot, pulled back, and fed that guy on the crease for that goal. That was the go-ahead goal. And then after Syracuse got that possession, Joey Spallina came off that pick, similar kind of no angle, really tried to fit it in there between the goalie's legs on a no angle shot. I actually think if he pulled back, I think I saw Finn Thompson rolling pretty free there. So, the lacrosse is such a game of inches and split-second decisions that can flip-flop a game like anything.
No doubt. Listen, you want your best players to be confident. The last thing you do is not to tell people to take shots. You're 30, 40 yards away when you're a coach. And, we've all been played in games where, bad shot well taken goes in.
Right.
And you're like, everyone's celebrating. You're like, how the hell did that shot go in? Everyone's like, no, yes. And then there's plenty of times where guys have not taken shots and tried to force a feed. So, listen, you tell your guys to make instinctive and impulsive decisions in the game, and sometimes they work out, and sometimes they don't. And I don't think anybody would have faulted, Johnny Arendt for taking that late turn-in shot. The fact that he was able to kind of pull himself out of it was, I think a really selfless, and team oriented play, which is like we're talking about, like, don't settle for pretty good. Conversely, you want your best players to feel like they can make a play, and that's the dilemma that any coach is under. You want your best players to feel like I can make this play, and when it works, we all look like geniuses, and when it doesn't, there's millions of people who are going to critique you. So, listen, I thought, a sneaky play of the game, and we showed this in our film session yesterday, was when Logan Ip started. There's 20 seconds left in the game. And the same thing happened last year in Sam King got stripped at the end of our regular season game, and they end up getting a shot. I think Billy Dwan ends up getting a shot off at the end of that game that we survived. So Ip got stripped, but both Ip and Teddy Malone rode unbelievably. If you watch the last 15 seconds of that game, they weren't rattled. They weren't laying on the ground looking for a call. There was none of that. They almost the rest of that game, which I think speaks to their character and humility to be like, all right, the game's not over yet. What can I do? And they rode for the last 8 seconds and then as a result, we didn't give them an opportunity to shoot on the cage.
These are 1-goal games every time, isn't it? I mean, to be coaching the game, you're on pins and needles the whole game. 1-goal games. I mean, everything is just a tiny little critique here or there.
He might have been on pins and needles because he looked like he was freezing to death. What was it?
Oh, it's cold. I know it was cold. There's no doubt about that.
I saw some helmets. I saw some clouds of smoke coming out of helmets with guys breathing. I mean, it looked pretty cold.
It was the weather had been a little funky. There were, the snowbanks were like 13 feet tall. You felt like you were playing in an igloo.
Unbelievable.
But people showed out. There was probably 2,500, 3,000 people there.
That was great.
we had gotten 20 something inches of snow. So our facilities people did an unbelievable job.
Gerry, is that mostly your people, or do they travel big?
Syracuse had a great.
Because I heard they travel big. Like I heard they travel.
They traveled well, and you were the number one team in the country with, one of the best players and a group of the best players who are considered the best players in the country. People want to see, see the celebrities and the great players in our sport, and Syracuse has plenty of great players, and so that I think that drove some of the youth interest as well.
Vin,
you guys gonna be able to be at the game? Are you guys gonna be able?
We're going to be there.
We'll be there.
We're ready.
Yeah, we'll be there.
You guys should do a live remote, right? From
live remote. It's like this is where I come out. Celebrity time. You kidding me? I got to go to the game. Then I got a game that night. St. John's is playing Villanova, and Vincenzo got asked to go to the game. He's like a celebrity, so he's got 2 games to go to. He's got Chaminade, and then he's going to the St. John's. I said, "You going to make the game, the late game, Minnie?"
He's going to be at his alma mater first. This is the first. I think this is the first college game at Chaminade in Chaminade history. I think.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been a.
I'm making that statement. I'm going with it until someone proves me wrong.
No, I don't believe there's ever been.
So, Gerry, I have a question for you. I got, because we analyzed, that Maryland Syracuse game, and one of the comments I made, and maybe some criticism being a midfielder who enjoyed playing defense, was I thought that Maryland at times, some of their short stick D guys, looked afraid to switch onto a guy coming off a pick, and it caused them problems. It opened up lanes. It opened up shooting space for guys coming off the picks. You guys don't seem to worry about that. Like you said, you're interconnected. You just play great team defense. If you switch, it's a switch. It doesn't matter for you guys.
I think it's like the pick game, the introduction of the box philosophy and, particularly over the last 10 years, there's so much work being done on pick angles and pick locations and pick direction and bee stings and swing picks and picks and slips and flybys. All of this stuff, there's so much work going on that. It's a little bit swamped by the off-ball defensive work around that. So I think it's sometimes easier to be dogmatic, meaning, hey, we're going to get through on every pick. And Maryland in particular is very good at teaching that. I don't think there's a team that's better in the country on maintaining matchups with their guys on big little and little big. I think they're very good at that. I don't think there's a team that's better than them. We had Nick Grill was our defensive coach for the last 2 years, and he really helped me get better at it because my approach had been, if we have to switch, we have to switch. And it's still that approach, but you can still make it hard. A team can invest 10 to 20 seconds in trying to force multiple picks to get a short stick onto, Joey Spallina as an example. And that could kill half your possession time if you're totally committed to that. And Maryland is very good at getting their best guys through to keep their matchups. And I think they made a few mistakes in that game. They were still great at it. I think Schaller is a tremendous defenseman, but I think Syracuse also did a really good job of, which helped us in our preparation, of changing some of the pick angles and the pick locations near GLE, for Leo and for Spallina. And we were able to learn from that. We were able to take some of the really good things that Maryland did and the really good things that Syracuse did and build it into our prep. We had a short week of prep. We had 3 games in 7 days, so we couldn't work on it as much as we want. But, everybody has a different philosophy, Vinny. Get through and keep your matchup, or switch if you have to. I'm more in the switch if you have to. It's cool.
Well, let me narrow it down for you now. You're up a goal. Syracuse wins the faceoff. The guy runs it to the box. They call timeout. You're in a defensive huddle. They're in their offensive huddle. They come out and they start with the ball. Spallina out top, which is, he's really a guy normally coming from behind. But here he is at the top of the box to the right side looking at the goal, right? And you have your defender who's defended him the whole day, and they have a short, your short stick guy. It's a big little, basically. And he runs off it, and really your guy got stuck. He lost him. And your short had to go on him, which he did get a little bit ahead of him, but it wasn't a great angle. The kid played it pretty tough. So, when I watched that play and I'm looking at how before the whistle blew, your guy, the pole who's on him, he was almost even with Spallina, like giving him his right hand. He was saying, if you're going to run down that right alley, I'm letting you run down that right alley, instead of being square up on him. Do you think of all these little things of...
Yeah, those picks, people call them slam picks. It's a basketball term where you're kind of coming from a blind angle from the defender. Often it could be top center, it could be in the alleys, it could be in the corner of the box. And I think you're right, that's not necessarily a dodging angle that is, he's obviously more than capable of being really good at, but he's mostly on the wing and behind. That pick angle and that pick location was not something that we prepared for relative to this game. So that was, I think, a really good adaptation for them. Yeah, I would probably liked him to be, I didn't want to force him to the middle because he's super skilled with his hands and his eyes, and their off-ball guys are really good cutters, and and so I don't, like, in hindsight, I don't think we played that action very well. Our guy didn't switch onto him like in a confrontational manner. Our guy didn't necessarily get through, and then we slid. Right. So we had parts of 3 people committed to that ball, which generally is not an outcome. We were able to get saved on that shot. And ironically, because we had 3 people in that area, the guy who was in the process of sliding was able to cut the ball and run it out. So listen, it's not the way we would necessarily have designed it defensively, but it worked out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
hey, Gerry.
I only make the point because the way these games are coming down to one goal all the time and these one plays, it's like, you got to be so on your toes on every play. And, it's, I mean, that's why you get the
No,
big bucks, you guys and your
the
staff.
offensive
You're out
players
there.
are so skilled now. They're
Yeah.
so skilled. They're feeding into tight windows. You know, it's, like defensively, if you relax or you stand up, or we call them OF moments. Like I relax at the same time as an off-ball guy cuts. Like, listen, Finn Thompson had a behind the back goal with 1 second left in the possession in the first half,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
definitely in the first half. Like there's 1 second,
Yeah.
2 seconds left in the thing,
Yeah.
and our guy is just, he gets into a help position for a split second. Right as he relaxes, Thompson pops and goes BTB. And you're like, you've done everything right for 60 to 80 seconds, and they score with 1 second. That's kind of demoralizing, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, those are tough. Those are tough.
The
Hey,
offensive
Gerry,
players,
do they have a stat where, like, your stat guys who's ever keeping the stats, do you keep percentages like when I set a pick to the left side, he comes off the pick and he scores? Is that all on the books? Like, say that game you played against him, 30% of your plays were based on picks and the guy scores. Do you keep those stats like something like that?
I don't know who said this. I think maybe Mark Twain. There's lies, damn lies, and statistics. So I look at statistics as something that could be kind of, it's impactful, but I don't necessarily always want it to be influential, because Steven, if we said, Steven's going to go right, he's shot 90% of the time when he's dodged, top center, and then we're like, all right, we're going to take that away. Next thing you know, Steve has 3 goals lefty on the run. That he had to develop. When you were younger, you didn't have that.
Yeah.
That developed over time because people wanted to take away what Steve or Vinny wanted to do, and so it comes back to Vinny's question earlier. Like, could we have been more squared up with Joey on that alley? Yeah. Now you got a guy running who's at 15 yards with his weak hand. I don't think goalies like weak-handed shots from guys because you might not know where it's going.
Right.
Yeah, they were all good
So I don't
right, exactly.
there are things that you look at statistically that, hey, we don't shove down our guy's throat that, hey, this guy, 95% of this guy's shots have been right-handed. We're like, hey, he's a predominantly right-hander. Loves his right, but if you give him the weak hand, he can make plays. Like, so like, probably one of Marquette's best players is number one. He's a big, really athletic kid from Minnesota who is has a really strong right-handed, but he's like really creative and gifted left-handed, particularly when you try to take away the right too much. So, like, I don't think, my philosophy is you can't take away everything somebody loves. Like, if
I understand that. I just say because baseball with all the analytics, every time the guy gets up at bat now, the guy's on the second pitch, the guy he faces is throwing this. They have it. They're looking at the thing almost like where Tillman does. He has a little pad. He's looking. What's the guy going to do? I'm saying I know it's not there yet with lacrosse, but baseball's crazy like that now. All these guys know what pitch they're going to throw at this time. The lefty gets up. I'm saying that's how crazy the sports are becoming. And, I was just wondering where you guys were as far as that. That's all.
We're not very like dogmatic about that. This guy can't go to his left. We never say that. Even if 95% of his shots are right-handed. So I just think you'll pay a price in a different way by doing that. And I would rather teach our guys to be constantly assessing whatever the actual situation is. And your 5 or 4 or 5 off-ball guys are prepared for any outcome, strong-handed or weak-handed.
Gerry, the beginning of the season has been a lot of talk about, starting too early, play midweek games, all of this and that. But the one thing I do like about the beginning of the season is you get a lot of it's meant for these interconference games, all the conferences playing each other. It appears, just based on last weekend's results, we were talking about it before we came on, Vinny and I, the Ivy League had quite a nice weekend, a lot of wins for the Ivy League. Not that the Ivy League was ever down, but they seem to be doing very well against many of the other conferences so far.
Every team in our league starts differently. Like Dartmouth starts in early January because they're on a trimester. The Ivy League rule is you can start when your classes start. So when we all start varies. So I think generally us, Yale, and Princeton start, officially late January, February 1st. Like our first official practice, we had a scrimmage with Stony Brook up here. Now, they were doing some captain stuff and things like that. And so, but generally, the most of the teams in our league start late January or February 1st. The players are doing some player-led stuff for a couple of days, but we're basically just starting. And some teams are already playing on that day. And we had a head coaches league meeting a couple of months ago, and it turns out that the most injuries in our league happen in that late January first 2 weeks because we're not playing and we're practicing 4 or 5 days a week like everybody else. And you start thinking about these teams that are starting the first week of January. They have a month of practice, the number of concussions and stuff. And if you're hoping to play in May, like, I'm not saying one way is better than the other, and the Ivy League's never going to change. So I'm not petitioning for an earlier start, but I think there's something about being fresh and accepting that you don't know everything. But if you don't know everything about your own team, that means your opponents don't know everything about you. You haven't played yet. There's no film and things like that. So you can surprise some people, but also your season's more condensed. You have their attention. They're super fired up. They're healthier generally. And who knows what's the best way? Obviously, Cornell had a great season, and we had multiple teams in the tournament, including ourselves. So who knows what the best formula is? But I know the Ivy League's not going to change. Maybe the Division I lacrosse will convert back to when we were in college, where we played Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, from the middle of March to May. Maybe
isn't it about airtime though?
I don't worry about. That's out of my pay grade whether a game's on TV or streamed or not. But listen, we whatever 30 years ago we complained about getting paid better and more games on TV, and now generally we're getting paid better and more. I mean, that comes with more pressure, and the more pressure you're gonna schedule in a way that generally gives your team a chance to be successful. So you get some things, you give up some other things.
Well, it seems like the Ivy League, to me, is very strong this year. It's going to be as you get later in your season and you get into the, more conference play, there's some very, very tough games. That's a tough gauntlet of games to go through.
And there's a little mystery, our teams, don't play on ESPNU. And so, there's. And I don't mind it. Like we've been very low key about, the game from Saturday and rankings and polls and things like that, because I don't want my guys distracted by that. You didn't come here to have a great win. You came to have great wins and see how far this team can go and how good this team can be. So culturally you're like, and when you're at a place like this, it's a big deal within a certain universe of people. We got Nobel Prize winners, and you got people who are some of the best at what they do and everything that they do. So yeah, it's a big deal. But you go to class on Monday like anything else, and you're not walking in and people are giving you a standing ovation for having a big win. Everybody's moved on to their next thing, which I think is great for the humility of our team and trying to discover how far we can take it.
Yeah, it's a good thing, man. But they are saying the growth of the sport. These are the experts, not the coaches. The growth of the sport, they're saying you need TV time. A lot of the coaches don't want to play during the week. I get it. That's a whole nother story. But you need to have airtime because you got girls softball coming out. You guys don't get the airtime if you don't play during the week. That's what they're talking about. That's the big thing now. Playing during the week.
You're drinking the Anish Kool-Aid, and
I am.
can you zip that back up? I don't need to see your chest hair, small.
Yeah. There you go, Gerry. But listen, it's like, do you play during the week, or the coach is going to dictate when they want to do it?
Oh, it's another
Which is better for the sport to grow?
They do go to school. They all go to class.
We can't miss classes now with like basketball and some of and football. I'm not, there's a little more liberal interpretation of class miss. Like we only have a handful of class misses every year. So it's not going to change for us. If other teams and other leagues have the leverage and the power to do that, then they have to choose whether they want to do that or not. But they're not going to all of a sudden, hey, you can have 10 class misses next year. That's not going to happen.
Vin, you got a question? I'm excited. I'm excited for this weekend. I really am.
Now, Steve, do you have a family member there?
I do. Steven's at 7th grader, so he's the one who gave me the heads up on what's going on. I told him to scout out 1982 picture. We're going to have to pull that one out for the Instagram,
Baby.
of Gerry, from the
if you'd like to see a corduroy powder blue blazer married with a forced middle part from the barber at TSS stores, then you're going to win that bingo card if you find that.
Man.
Gerry, have you ever seen your picture actually on the wall?
Class of 82?
Class of 82. I have not been to Chaminade in a long time. Probably maybe 2014 when we played Albany at Hofstra when I was coaching at Notre Dame. That might have been the last time I've been there, but I haven't stood on that field maybe since I was in high school. And I'm excited to see Jack Moran. They're doing a big announcement for him and a fund that they're announcing in his name.
Yeah,
it's just it's a full circle. Great seeing my family. Listen, we're fired up for Marquette. Richard is a great dude and has done a great job. Probably, one of the 2-3 best players ever at Marquette. One of the first recruits of Joe Amplo, and so we are focused on that. But there's definitely some tangential benefits of seeing family and being at a place that was, at the time, I didn't realize how meaningful it was going to be to me in my life, but in retrospect, it was a pivotal moment and changed the whole trajectory of my life. And so I'm blessed to have gone there and to
be coming back as the conquering hero. He's coming back the conquering hero.
That's I am not going to endorse that statement. I don't know. What's that?
The big question is, where are you having your pregame meal?
Vincent's was able to accommodate us, so we got a big group.
Very good.
Going there on Friday. We have practice at Chaminade at 2:30, and so right before school ends, which would be a nightmare getting in there. So we're going to be there before 2:30 on their field for about an hour. We're staying at the Marriott, where we used to do our post game.
Wow, that's a blast from the past.
New York Saints, Vinny Pfeiffer and you guys might have rooms locked up for a post game for the New York Saints games, and and then going to Vincent's. So might have to go to Borelli's too. Who knows?
You talk about full circle going back to the Marriott. Oh my God, that is full circle. Many a fun
Gerry,
night after a game.
We may see you at
what's that?
We may see you at Vincent's. We may see you at Vincent's because we're gonna meet. You remember Moon's son is playing for Marquette.
Of course, yes. Yeah, Tucker. Yeah. Tucker is on their team. Moon. Is his mullet still in effect?
That's a great question.
No, that's
I
in the
think he
Hall
still
of Fame.
might have
They
a
put that
little.
in the Hall of Fame.
Nah, he's bald now. He's a
No,
bald eagle.
he's definitely not bald. I saw him. I saw him not that long ago. I don't know if he's got the full mullet, but it's definitely a little bit of flow. I think he still has a
He,
little
he,
flow.
he was the inspiration for Joe Dirt. I just want to say that.
Yeah.
He was the inspiration of that character.
That's great. That is so great.
No, so we'll see you there. I think we're going at 5:30. What time are you guys going to be there?
Yeah, probably around there. We'll be around.
We'll see. You got a table. You're like you're like Ray Liotta and Goodfellas. A table just appears. It just starts
kinda true.
carrying in. They carry in, they place it, and Gerry Vale is singing. So yeah.
Their
Let me
sauce
tell
is
you,
great.
Bobby
It's never
Marisi-
changed.
Bobby Marisi is the greatest. He's been so good to us and good to everybody. And he found a niche with the sports, particularly the lacrosse teams who travel in, because you're definitely going to walk out of there. You better, maybe temper your kids down a little bit because they might overeat because the food's so good.
This generation, they eat like they're on death row. It's unbelievable. They are nonstop. They are not. You can't feed them enough. You can feed them 6 meals a day. They're still eating. So, but we're fired up, and thanks for the support and having me on and promoting the.
He's
What's that a picture of it?
showing you the Vincent's sauce.
I was in Walmart early in the morning, and I saw they just got Vincent's. They launched their brand. Now they're in Walmart. They got their sauce. There's me buying 3 jars of Vincent's sauce, and I texted it to him.
I didn't know we did product placement on the 3 guys.
Exactly.
Do you get like free?
We do it all.
You get free Clams Casino now, Smalley?
Gerry, I haven't paid for a meal or to get on the train in over 20 years. If you think I kid you. I've been on the job. Listen, what am I? Been a retired police officer? Retired, what else am I?
He's on the job. Jerry's the son of a fireman, so,
I know.
That's right.
I got a lot of firemen in my family, too. The cooks. We got so many firemen in Levittown, you can name any name. There'd be one in any family.
Fact.
Yeah.
Well,
How many people you got coming, Jack? How many people you got coming?
Probably somewhere between 20 and 30, I think.
Any scallywags? Any old timers that are hanging on by the bootstrap besides me?
Joe Weingart and Tom Sullivan, 2 guys who were in my. That's a Nassau. You were at Nassau for like 5 years, so you played with all these.
Yeah.
All these guys.
Yeah.
It took you 5 years to get your 2-year degree, but there'll be a bunch of Levitalians there, I'm sure, no doubt.
That's going to be a classic. That's going to be a classic.
But they already have like
Jerry,
almost 2,000 tickets, so I don't know.
Wow.
What's that?
Jerry, this was supposed to be a surprise,
We can't
but I
hold it.
can't hold off. Halftime performance by Small Bunny. Smalley is going to do the
God
Bad Bunny
almighty.
routine at the game
He's doing a
on
halftime.
Saturday.
The Bad Bunny.
Bad
Can you
Bunny.
believe this, Jerry?
In his Bad
Hold it up a
Bunny
little
outfit.
higher. I want to see the gloves.
Tell
There
you,
you
that's
go.
how big Smalley's shoulders
There you
were
go.
when he was younger. He was like this.
And he
He
got
was
the
like
gloves.
this.
Man, this is good. Hey, listen,
That's Bad
Jerry,
Bunny.
be standing.
You're good money. You're good money. He's Bad Bunny. You're good money.
Oh, the standing room only, man. They're coming out of the woods. Oh, there'll be a lot of people.
No, I think they've almost had 2,000 tickets pre-ordered.
100%. Thomas told me there's going to be standing room only. That's it.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good game. Yeah, that'd be a good game. Yeah,
I
definitely.
assume there's going to be a private box for Vinny. Vinny, where are you watching?
We got the suite, the only suite
I
there.
don't know.
We got heat and everything. He already hooked it up.
Well,
The science
We're gonna
museum,
enjoy
the
ourselves,
science
that's for sure.
building is always a good spot too. They've got a nice view from up there. You go to the 3rd floor of that science building.
no doubt.
Look out. That's a
Jerry,
great view.
please turn around and say hello to us. We need one turnaround for Jerry.
I'll give you the LVT. That's all you need to know. If you know, you know.
Love it.
If you know, you know. If you don't know, you'll never understand.
We're
Well, let's
gonna
not keep him.
we're
He's got
gonna
work
wrap
to
it
do.
up,
He's got to get
Smalls.
ready for a game. He's got to travel in. Yeah. Give us a
We're
shout
gonna
out,
make sure
Smalls.
we
Give us a
get-
shout out.
Oh, I got to give a shout out to Levittown because he went to Levittown. Levittown Division Avenue High School, all the lacrosse players, all the people that made it and struggled and are still here. And I want to tell as many people just come out to the game. It's going to be a bonanza. You're going to see all the Levittown greats there. It's going to be good showing. All the Levittown people that struggled throughout getting there, now they made it, and they're doing good. And just his family, everybody. It's going to be a great show. Be a great time.
I'll do
What you got, Vince?
I'll do my shout out. I'm gonna give my shout out to all the Harvard alums. You see my shirt, Gerry? See that?
Yes.
I mean, this is pretty. Smalley might have to get involved for the Harvard guys because this is pretty basic. If this is a jersey, I mean, my God.
You got.
This is a jersey.
I'm sending you guys a box of gear for
All
your
right.
next.
My brother's daughter's going to Harvard. Let me see. What is it? Is that really a Harvard?
This is a
Oh,
Harvard-
1881, yeah.
Harvard team up in Lake Placid. By the way, I've got to play the one time. We got the title. We won the championship.
Facts.
We took it down.
Steve, send me your guys' address. We'll send you some swag.
For sure.
You guys should be like John Gruden now. You guys should be getting it for because you got all the ACC teams you're always wearing. Small. We need to get you some new gear.
Yeah.
So if you
Jerry,
send me
what
your
size
address,
you-
we'll send you an address. We'll get you some gear.
All the
What
Harvard
size are you,
alumni,
Jerry?
shout out.
What size are you still? Extra large or
XL.
large? XL.
Vin, you got a shout out?
He's
I got
thinking.
a shout out. My shout out this week is to my 1986 USA teammate and big brother to Gerry Byrne, Steve Byrne, the great Steve Byrne, who was one of the best at it. Tremendous defenseman
The
from
Byrnesy
University
family,
of
yeah.
Virginia. A great teammate
Facts.
and a fun
Facts.
guy.
Can I give my prediction on the game?
Sure.
No predictions. No predictions. No predictions.
All right, no, he said no. I have to go with the man.
It's gonna be.
I'll do it later.
It's gonna be a
Yeah, I
great
hope
game.
that the weather cooperates and we see a great game. There's two great teams. I think
it's supposed to be like 50 and sunny.
I hope.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It should be.
It's got a shot. It's got a shot. Maybe a little rain in the morning.
We'll take
Awesome.
it. We'll take it. Well, thank you guys. We
All right,
appreciate
God
it.
bless, Jerry. Good seeing you.
Let's give a little.
Thank you.
Let's get a little.
Go to the
sign-off
Harvard
music.
tailgate. You got an invite from me. You guys are welcome to the Harvard tailgate.
Nice.
Ah, Jerry, even me.
Even
I'm
you.
a dad. I'm a dad.
Riverside.
Ordained or whatever.
Then I think it's going to be in the cafeteria pregame.
My God.
There you go.
All right, awesome, guys. Good job.
Wait till you see the new cafeteria they got, Gerry. It's a big upgrade from when you guys started. Way